Stop separating families! Stop separating families! Stop separating families!
Stop separating families!
That was the scene this morning in front of the Supreme Court. Pro-illegal protesters chanting, "Stop separating families." That's the canard of the Open Borders Amnesty crowd, and not only is it untrue, it has nothing to do with the case the High Court heard today. For the record, enforcing the law does not separate families. Families can return intact to their countries of origin. No one forces illegals to abandon their children in the United States. Moreover, under existing law, federal immigration judges determine what is best for each family on a case-by-case basis. What is at issue in the current case before the Supremes, whether President Obama can unilaterally usurp the constitutional authority to change immigration law. The president's lawyers say that he can, courtesy of prosecutorial discretion. Simply stated, the president's position is this: the law is unfair, so I'm instructing law enforcement to not enforce the law. The late Justice Antonin Scalia, in preliminary preparations for this case, had a very pointed question for Mr. Obama's attorneys. Since Article 2, Section 3, Clause 5 calls for the president to, quote, take care that the laws be faithfully executed, end quote, wouldn't it be a direct violation for the chief executive not to enforce existing law? Of course it would. But with Justice Scalia dead and an 8-member Supreme Court hearing today's case, don't be surprised if there's a 4-4 deadlock. Thankfully, that means a decision by a lower court that calls the president's action unconstitutional will stand. Now it's important that Congress take a stand. But with open border establishment Republicans running the House and Senate, don't hold your breath. That's the way I see it. Now, this programming reminder, Newsmax TV has you covered with the best in primary coverage tomorrow night. Our coverage of America Votes begins tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock Eastern on the anchor desk. I'll be followed at 9 by Dennis Michael Lynch, then Ed Berliner at 10 p.m., and then at 11 o'clock Eastern, I'll be back for a special 1-hour program where I will be taking your calls live on the air. We want your voice to be heard tomorrow night at 11 o'clock Eastern. That'll be 8 o'clock Pacific, to be specific about it, and I will speak with you then. But now your voice comes through with the way you see it. Your comments via social media. Tonight, I'll try to answer a question from Fanny, who questions the entire nominating system. She writes, JD, people take part in elections, primaries or caucuses, thinking they vote for a candidate. Turns out, by political party rules, they really only voted for delegates. Then those delegates can vote for a candidate which may be different from that of direct voters. This is why Mr. Trump calls such a system rigged. What do you think? Well, Fanny, a couple of friendly amendments are in order for your assessment. In most primary states, the majority of Republican delegates are bound by the outcome of the primary election for the first ballot they will cast at the convention. In some states, such as Pennsylvania, only 17 of the delegates in the Keystone State will go to the statewide primary winner. That means that 54 delegates are unbound, which means they can vote for whomever they choose to at the convention. Of course, what put Colorado in Mr. Trump's rhetorical crosshairs was the decision of that state's GOP to do away with the primary. And as Ted Cruz supporter Tom Tancredo pointed out on this very program Friday night, the public efforts of Colorado's Republican chairman Steve House, no secret he was out to stop Trump. Now, Mr. Trump makes a powerful political argument with his charge that the process is rigged, when it's more accurate to describe it as subject to state-by-state rules. But in this internet age, where people expect that their input will be noted and respected, expect a move by even more states to institute primaries and bind delegates to the decision of the voters. Win or lose, Donald Trump's candidacy will bring that change to future campaigns. What do you think? I'd love to get your comments. Here's where you send them to me, to newsmaxtv.com/comments. That'll do it for tonight. Stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.